Scott Holiday here, and welcome to Plus 2 Wrestling. I finally did it. I finally got into AEW Fight Forever. It's fun. I really like the Stadium Stampede. It's more arcadey. It's definitely not a deep simulation like some of the wrestling 2K games are, but it's a lot of fun. And I made me. There I am. I think I did a pretty good job of making myself into the game. The only thing is, literally the first thing I did in this game was go to a meet and greet at the U.S. Capitol, and I looked like that. I don't know. I think I'd wear a shirt if I was going to the Capitol, but that's just me. And that's me, and I feel like I'd wear my suit to the Capitol. I don't know. I thought it was funny. In any case, let's plug in. This very Sunday, February 4th, it is the 25th anniversary of Combat Zone Wrestling. So come celebrate 25 years of ultra violence. There you will see the CZW World Championship on the line as Rich Swann defends against Deshaun Pratt. The Prince of Camden has never held singles gold in CZW in his entire tenure with the company. So, will the silver anniversary of CZW mean gold for Deshaun Pratt? Find out February 4th. Plus, the tag team titles are on the line as Milk Chocolate defend against the new Backseat Boys. The Backseat Boys are a team that were synonymous with CZW. That's Trent Acid and Johnny Kashmere. And now the new Backseat Boys, Tommy and JP Grayson, want to extend that legacy and win tag team gold. Plus, we have 8-man tag action as post-game team up with the Rep to take on the Lost Boys. Plus, Dick Dynamo takes on Nico Gray, and look, I didn't decide this. I'm just reading it, so I need you to understand, okay? If Dick Dynamo loses, Nico Gray gets to shave his head. And if Nico loses, Dick Dynamo gets to cut off Nico's... It all goes down at the State Theater on February 4th. So be sure to be there. Get your tickets at czwrestling.com. The doors open at 3 and the bell rings at 4. Sunday, February 18th at the Mitchell Fire Hall in Burlington, New Jersey, it is SPO The Boss Battles. There you will see Sonny Kiss challenge for the SPO World Heavyweight Championship against Homicide. And if that match doesn't impress you, maybe this one will. One more quick note before I get into today's soapbox. I mentioned last week that Labor of Love premiered on the High Tension Wrestling YouTube channel with their first episode of the citywide special. And I was told a lot of people were having trouble finding it. It's not listed under videos. If you go to the High Tension Network YouTube page and then click live, you can look at past live streams. And there you will find the first episode of the citywide special. So be sure to check out Labor of Love. Again, after this. Today on the Soapbox, I want to talk about the Royal Rumble. You see, I watched the Royal Rumble on my couch, and I was watching the Women's Rumble, and it happened. The countdown went off. I awaited to see who was going to be number 5. There were sirens. And then I leapt from my couch and started screaming because the current TNA Knockout Champion Jordynne Grace debuted in the Royal Rumble. And as I screamed and shouted, I looked around at all my friends and realized I was the only one screaming and shouting. And I said, why is no one else freaking out? This might be the greatest surprise in the history of the Royal Rumble. She works for another company. And they said, yeah, we all knew. They announced it ahead of time. Well, I didn't see that, so I was really surprised. But I guess if you all knew, maybe it's not the greatest surprise in the history of the Royal Rumble. But that did get me thinking, who is the greatest surprise entrance in the Royal Rumble? So if we're going to decide who is the greatest surprise in the Royal Rumble history, we need to set up some rules. So I have 4 criteria that we can kind of scale everybody and grade them on to see which one is the absolute best. So we're going to judge each entry by these 4 categories and find who is the greatest surprise in the Royal Rumble. Number 1, surprise factor. It should be obvious that the best surprise is surprising. But what's really shocking is how unsurprising a lot of the surprise entries into the Royal Rumble were. I'm going to take you back to 2011. Here we see the return of Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Herk, herk. Now this is actually on WWE's list of best surprise entrants. Number 4. This is the number 4 entry. And while it's great to see Kevin Nash don the old gimmick and make his way into the Royal Rumble, it drives me crazy that we cut to a woman in the front row with a sign that says Big Daddy Cool. Because that means one of 2 things. Either it's not a surprise and it leaked out and the fans in the arena already knew it was happening, or there's an insane woman that goes to the Royal Rumble with a sign for everyone just in case. Like she was leaving to the Royal Rumble going, okay, I need my Big Daddy Cool sign, yeah. And you know what? I'll take Razor Ramon because they might be in the same car together. That makes sense. I like Fit Finlay. Maybe Fit Finlay will be there. That'll be great. Let's go with Mr. T. He was in WrestleMania 1's main event, so that makes sense. And let's get my Ragin' Cajun sign. Love you, Lash LaRue. That's great. No! That's insanity. There's no way that's what happened. This woman clearly knew he was going to be there, so it's not a great surprise. And I bring this up because what rushes to my head as one of the greatest surprise returns of all times, or surprise entrance, is 2016 with AJ Styles. But listen to the call that Michael Cole makes, because you can't see it because we're looking at Roman's face for some reason. But the call he makes is, can it be? It is. It's AJ Styles, one of the hottest free agents in professional wrestling. There's been rumors for weeks, and there's your problem. We all knew. We all knew AJ was coming. If you go back and you watch YouTube pundits talk about what they think is going to happen in the 2016 Royal Rumble, they all include AJ Styles because everyone knew he had signed. So it's not a big surprise. I would say the highest scoring on the surprise factor alone, I would say is Chris Jericho in 2013 when he was number 2. In Jericho's book, he actually talks about how he was behind the curtain while Dolph Ziggler was talking, and he was actively on Twitter to see if anyone was talking about him. And nobody knew. They kept it a secret. And then the lights went out, we broke the walls down, and the glittery jacket appeared. That surprise, that's truly a surprise. Not something we thought might happen, something that had leaked out, but truly, out of nowhere, really fills my chest with that good feeling. So, if you want to be the best, you got to be surprising. Number 2, It has to cause an emotional response. I take it back. The most surprising entrant into the Royal Rumble is not Chris Jericho in 2013. Because I guarantee you, if you asked every single person at the 1996 Royal Rumble who they thought was going to be in that Rumble, nobody would have said, oh, Squat Team member number 1. Definitely. No, nobody knew that. A total surprise. The thing is, when Squat Team member number 1 came out, nobody went, oh my god, it's the Squat Team member number 1. I hope number 2 shows up. Oh my god, it's number 2. Nobody cared. It's got to be something that really makes a visceral human reaction come out of you. Like, great examples of this, in my opinion, are basically the whole 2018 Women's Rumble. The first Women's Rumble. As soon as this was announced, everyone looked at each other and went, so there's going to be a bunch of legends in this, right? Like, they're finally doing the Rumble. Everyone's going to come back. So no one was surprised to see Trish, Lita, the Bellas, Molly Holly, Kelly. Of course, everyone's going to come back for this. But it was special every time. The fact that these women that were trailblazers back before it was women's wrestling and it was divas wrestling, finally getting their moment to shine in this now wrestling positive era of the WWE. Every time that a legend came back for that Rumble, I was thrilled. I was really thrilled for Jacqueline. When Jacqueline came out, this is a woman that fought so hard for women's wrestling. She was demanding matches in WCW just to get on TV and having matches with, like, the Disco Inferno that were great. And she finally got her spot in the Royal Rumble. Magical. Another good one where it's not that surprising but gives you that reaction is in 2016. Kevin Owens was in the ring and doing well in the Royal Rumble. And Sami Zayn, we knew, was in NXT, so we knew he was under contract, and we also knew that he had kind of finished up everything he needed to do in NXT. But man, when that ska music hit, you couldn't help but scream because Sami Zayn was in the Royal Rumble. So ideally, you want both. Big surprise, big emotional reaction. Number 3, impact. Now, based on our current criteria, I would say probably the best secret entry or surprise entry in the Royal Rumble is Roddy Piper in 2008. Big emotional reaction. Nobody saw it coming when he walked into Madison Square Garden and faced off with old rival Superfly Jimmy Snuka. But then they just kind of fought each other and got booted. Like, this is very common for the surprise entrant to show up, get their pop, and leave. Like, how often has this happened to you watching the Royal Rumble? 3, 2, 1, and wow, 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 wow. It's the Godfather! The Godfather's back! Oh, he doesn't have the ladies with him. I like it better when he has the ladies with him because it's more exciting. Oh, where's he going? Oh, he brought the ladies with him. Oh, yeah, it's time for everybody to get on the Ho train. I know, he was an Attitude Era character. We don't say that anymore, but it's a throwback. I know. Anyway, oh, he's gone. Oh, that happened in like 5 Rumbles. The Godfather came back, danced around with some ladies, and then got booted. Like, that's not going to be your biggest surprise of all time. You need to come into this not just as a surprise, but be impactful. I mean, think about 2022. Brock was a surprise and won the thing. Ronda Rousey was a surprise and won the thing. When Edge came back in 2010 and won everything after he got his ankle surgery or his Achilles surgery. Coming back and getting that surprise entrance is great, but coming back and really impacting how the match turns out, That's huge. Now, does that mean that joke entrants like Ricardo Rodriguez, El Torito, Vicky Guerrero, Hornswoggle, the Boogeyman, Michael Cole, that they all can't be the greatest surprise of all time? Yeah, that's what it means. That they didn't have an impact. Except for Hornswoggle, actually. Hornswoggle had that whole team up with Cena. That was, I don't know, that was kind of fun. I like that. He had an impact. And you also might notice I left Drew Carey off that list. Drew Carey wasn't a surprise. Did you know that? They announced it like earlier in the show that he was going to be in the Rumble. He took D'Lo Brown's spot. Here's a fact. Number 4. Number. As strange as it might seem, it really does impact how great of a surprise you are, depending on what number you come out. Like, think about this past Rumble, the 2024 Women's Rumble. Naomi came back, but Naomi didn't just come back. Naomi came back at number 2, which means the match had not started yet, which means we got the full Naomi Feel the Glow entrance. If Naomi had come in at 14 or 15 and we couldn't do the black lights and the lasers, it would have lost something. I mean, that's part of the reason that Jericho in 2012 is so magical. It's because Dolph Ziggler's in the ring demanding whoever number 2 is to come on out already. And it's Chris Jericho. That's what made Jeff Jarrett in 2019 so good. When he came out and started the match with Elias, is because we got the full cowboy strut. If you're going to be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, you want to be number 1 or number 2. And if you can't be, you want to be somewhere where you can be showcased. Like when AJ came out, AJ was number 3. And that worked because Roman had thrown out number 2. So we were at like a lull in the match, which allowed him to make a big impact. And if you can't find a lull like that, you kind of want to be number 30. Because number 30 has the most anticipation of any of the other numbers. It's the last person to enter. Who's it gonna be? I feel like commentary says that almost every year. Here comes number 30. Who's it gonna be? It can make a lesser return more impactful. It definitely felt more special when Dolph Ziggler returned at number 30. And it instantly makes you impactful because since no one else is coming in after you, someone in the ring is winning the Royal Rumble. So you're already, in a sense, a finalist, which makes you very important to the match. Which is one of the reasons why I think I can't say the greatest surprise is Edge in 2020. As great as it was to see him after all those years, when he comes through the smoke with that real emotion on his face. But it's at 21? Like, we still got 9 more people to go through. It's very much just in the middle of the match, and it's so chaotic that they actually miss Edge delivering a spear in that match. So number actually could be the deciding factor in what makes the best surprise entrance. Who is it? Who is the greatest surprising entrant in the Royal Rumble? Well, I brought up a few of the top contenders already in my mind. I was really battling with Chris Jericho when he returned at number 2, just because nobody knew. No one at all knew. And we were all sitting there knowing that John Cena was probably going to win that Rumble so he could do that twice in a lifetime thing. So the moment that Break the Walls Down hit, it was a big sigh of relief to all the fans watching that at least something unexpected was happening. AJ Styles crossing the line and joining the WWE and being treated as a legitimate wrestler, even though he came from the other company, is so groundbreaking. But we all kind of knew he was coming. And, you know, he didn't win. He got thrown out by Kevin Owens. And then Edge's return, both of them, really. Edge's return, like, we all kind of thought Edge was going to come back and win in 2010. but it was still great to see him when he came back from injury. And he came in at 27, I believe, which is like the lucky number. So that one felt really good. Edge, of course, coming back from retirement and just the look in his eyes. That's probably the biggest reaction I've ever heard from a Royal Rumble. But when you look at all the criteria, there's one that stands out above the rest. Someone that no one, and I mean no one, thought was going to be in the Royal Rumble. But he wasn't just in the Royal Rumble. He was number 30 in the Royal Rumble. And when he came out, that was some reaction. And no one in the ring saw it coming. The greatest surprise entrant into the Royal Rumble is, of course, Roman Reigns. Not what you were expecting? Good. Let me tell you a story. Because you see, John Cena coming back in 2008 was huge. The WWE has it listed as the greatest surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble. He was number 30. Nobody knew he was going to be there, and he won. But that was a surprise based off of an injury. No one thought he was going to be back after his tear in his arm. But because he's Super Cena and Wolverine or something, he was able to come back. But let me tell you about the Royal Rumble in 2017. A story that they've been telling actually for about 4 years. 5 maybe even. Because you see, we had a string of bad Rumbles. Like I said, 2013 is when John Cena won to do Twice in a Lifetime. Bummer. Sucked. Then we had one of the most famous Royal Rumbles, 2014. The Rumble that Daniel Bryan wasn't in. The one where they booed Rey Mysterio at number 30 for not being Daniel Bryan. And Batista wins that one. Rough. And then 2015. 2015 is when they are really jamming Roman Reigns down our throats, and everyone's rejecting it. So we head to Philadelphia, a Rumble that I was at. You can actually see me when Roman enters. And man, that crowd hated Roman Reigns. We had to sit there and watch Bryan get tossed out very quickly. And then this terrible ending sequence where Roman overcomes the odds after Big Show and Kane destroy all of our hopes by throwing out Ziggler and Ambrose. And then it just got so bad we booed The Rock. It was so bad that afterwards, and this is true, I saw this with my own 2 eyes, when the Usos tried to leave, someone attacked the car with a chair. That's a real thing that happened. We were so... I don't know how the ring wasn't full of garbage when Roman Reigns won. Then in 2016, it was the Roman Reigns Rumble. It was the one where he had to defend the title in the Royal Rumble, and he had to enter at number 1, and the whole match is just about him. Even though he doesn't win, Triple H wins. He's not in the final 2. Ambrose is in the final 2 with Triple H. And he spends like half of it asleep. Like he goes to the back and takes a nap and then comes back and is like, oh, it's so valiant. Everyone hated that. And after all these bad Royal Rumbles, 2 of which were all about Roman Reigns, 2017 came around. 2017 might be the biggest Royal Rumble in terms of possible legitimate winners. There were so many names in this. This is the Rumble that had Brock Lesnar in it and had Goldberg in it, right after Goldberg squashed Brock at Survivor Series. This is the one that had The Undertaker in it. And he was talking about how he had dug 29 holes for 29 souls. And we were like, Undertaker, you don't have to kill everyone in the match. Don't do that. You're going to be really tired for the Rumble now because you dug all those holes. We hope you don't come out first. That's not going to be good for you. Plus, you had other great contenders in there. You had Wyatt, you had Orton, you had Jericho, you had Enzo. All people who could legitimately win the Royal Rumble. And then there was the fact that at this pay-per-view, Roman Reigns was fighting Kevin Owens for the title. So the conversation was about two things. One, with all these names, I legitimately don't know who's winning the Royal Rumble. And two, at least we know it's not going to be Roman. He's fighting Kevin Owens. It's not going to be Roman. This is going to be a great Rumble. Then it happened. Roman Reigns lost to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens retained the Universal Championship. And then they did this great thing with the numbers where they really backloaded it. Like it was like Brock, and then it was Goldberg, and then it was Undertaker. And I think 29 might have been like Enzo. But with all those big names in a row, when we got to 30, everyone kind of had the same feeling. Oh my God. If all these names have already come out, I can't think of who number 30 is going to be. Number 30's gotta be huge. Is it going to be like Samoa Joe? Who is it going to be? Who could possibly be number 30? And I was at a party for this, and we were all having this discussion, and we were all getting more and more antsy, and we were all getting crazier and crazier in what the idea of number 30 was going to be, because it's got to be huge. If all these people are already out, it's got to be someone big. Everyone who's supposed to be in, it's already out. Who's it going to be? You can hear the audible groan from the crowd. I highly recommend you go on YouTube and watch a compilation of people reacting to the Roman Reigns music playing, because it's a visceral reaction. Nobody is happy. And I said you got to have an emotional response. I never said it had to be a good one. No one was happy when Roman Reigns came down at number 30. But it's exactly what needed to happen. After 4 years of bad Rumbles, after 2 years of being sick of Roman Reigns being forced upon us as the can-do, suffering, succotash babyface, Roman Reigns was used at number 30 as a heel. It was the first time they used Roman Reigns to get that feeling of, oh no. And as awful as it was to not see Samoa Joe and not hear the tubas as he made his way to the ring, the tension in the room got really thick. Oh no, they're gonna do it again. It's gonna be Roman again. And the fact that they finally figured it out to use Roman as a heel, even though it didn't stick, it's not like they turned him heel. They just knew in this moment Roman's job would be to make us all worried it was going to happen again. And then he got down to the final 2. Well, final 3, it was him, Orton, and Wyatt. And then we saw Wyatt go, and then Orton saved the day. That is how you use a surprise. The entire tone of that match changed when Roman Reigns entered. And you can watch tons of videos online where people will count down the worst surprise entrants or the worst number 30s. And Roman Reigns is usually counted as one of the worst. And that is them missing the point. It was beautiful to see Roman Reigns used for heat and not used thinking he'd be the greatest babyface of all time. Because I don't know about you, but I kind of saw in that moment that maybe this Roman Reigns thing could work. They made him a heel. And I think it's going pretty well. So that's my pick for the greatest surprise entrant into the Royal Rumble. Tell me how wrong I am. Leave that in the comments down below. And be sure to check out my top 10 indie wrestlers who will have a breakout year in 2024. And I still want to hear who you think will have a breakout year in 2024. So be sure to watch that video and comment on that as well. Thank you so much for joining me for Plus 2 Wrestling. And I hope you have a great day.